Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am really excited about the reading today. Today we are doing a reading where we're getting messages from Santa Muerte in honor of Dia de los Muertos. I've been looking forward to this all week. Before though we jump into the actual reading, I do just want to talk a little bit about Santa Muerte. I am myself a Santa Muerte devotee. She's the primary deity that I work with, not the only one, but she's the primary one. I grew up in the Southwest United States in Phoenix, Arizona, which is about 3 hours away from the Mexican border, depending on how fast you drive and how much traffic there is these days. So Phoenix is very much influenced by Mexican and Native American culture because, it's their land, so yeah, it's very influenced by them. So that's kind of where it started with her and myself. And before I did really start working with her, I did an awful lot of research because I'm a super big nerd like that, and I like to research stuff, and especially cultures and different things like that. And when I do, I try to find the most accurate, scholarly, historically accurate, culturally accurate information that I can. And if I can go to the source, I of course want to go to the source. I personally do not speak Spanish. I can understand it a little bit if people are talking really slowly, but I don't really have the vocabulary to speak it, so I don't speak it. But so I do have to find a lot of the information in English, and I'll be honest with you, it is kind of hard to find truly unbiased, accurate information about her in English especially. So I did throw some links in the description and did the best that I could finding the most accurate information. There's 3 links in the description. 2 of them are about Dia de los Muertos specifically, and then there's one about Santa Muerte specifically. One of the links is the PBS one. It's just about Dia de los Muertos, and it doesn't mention Santa Muerte at all. And actually the reason that I included that, I did for 2 reasons. One, it actually does have some culturally accurate information about celebrations in Mexico, and especially now, how they celebrate, and how some of the different populations and the socioeconomic people celebrate. So it's accurate, but that said, I do get the feeling that it was very Catholic Church sanctioned, and so that's why she wasn't mentioned at all. It really just highlights the kind of rejection that she has from the Catholic Church. They quite literally demonize her. So that's another reason that I wanted to include it, because you can see how it's very clearly, how much she's clearly left out as far as they're concerned. And actually the other 2 videos that I linked in the description address that whole situation, because she does have a very tense relationship with the Catholic Church, and it's not on her side, it's on their side. So anyway, there's also another documentary that I was able to find on Amazon Prime a few years ago that's called Santa Muerte, Holy Death. It is in Spanish, but there are English subtitles. It was a really good one. It actually talks to one of the main shrine people in Mexico. She has one of the biggest shrines in Mexico City, and it talks with her a lot, and then it talks with other Santa Muerte devotees and why they worship her and all of that. So they're really interesting. Again, that one's on Prime, Amazon Prime. I do believe you have to rent it, but I think it was only a couple of dollars, at least when I did. But so that information is out there, but you do kind of have to work a little bit to find information on her, unfortunately, because she's very misunderstood. She was, she's a folk saint. She's got Aztec and Mayan and Mesoamerican roots through death deities in those cultures. And of course, when the Spanish came over and colonialized, they tried to stamp all of that out. And so there's very much a mix of that with her as well, and just in the Mexican culture, period. And they talk a lot about that in those Dia de los Muertos celebrations, and just the culture of Mexico and how it's come together over time. So anyway, now that I've said all that, let's jump into the reading. Let's talk about what we're doing today. I have 3 piles today, and then we're going to be using the Santa Muerte Tarot deck and then the Santa Muerte Oracle. But yes, so we have 3 piles. We have the owl, and the owl is one of her symbols. It's one of her symbols. Just gonna close the window here really quick because it's kind of loud. There's a lot of traffic today. Okay. The next pile is this one. This is Santa Muerte. And then for pile number 3, we have the Monarch Butterfly Sugar Skull. So those are the 3 piles to choose from. And like I said, we have the Santa Muerte Tarot and the Santa Muerte Oracle that we're going to be getting messages from. And I will see you all in your piles. Hey, pile 1. I hope everyone is doing well today. I'm just going to write down some timestamps really quick before I forget, because I always forget. Okay, so you chose the owl. Some of the symbols that accompany Santa Muerte are the owl, also the scythe and the hourglass, lanterns, scales. She's often seen with scales, but the owl is associated with night because that is something else that she's associated with. She, as a death deity, death is often associated with the dark and night. She is a protector of those who work at night. She is a protector of those who, like prostitutes and like sex workers, taxi drivers, any profession that you're going to be wandering around at night. she's your saint. So let's see what we have. We're going to start off with the oracle cards, and we're going to see what kind of messages that she has for you today, pile 1. Santa Muerte. What messages do you have for pile 1 today? What would you like to talk about? Okay. We have card number 22. Okay, so this card for me has a couple of different meanings. It kind of depends on the context, actually, but it talks about intellect. Like you can see all of the books, there's imagery of skulls and kind of breaking things down, compartmentalizing things, putting things in their place, organization. It's a very cerebral type energy. I am actually going to just read from the guidebook what it says. Sometimes I associate it with a little bit of overthinking, but it actually is called intellect. Number 22, the card of intellect. The archetype of order, seen by the 6th card, can be expressed in the formation plane by human intellect. Here is the birthplace of language, the world of ideas, knowledge, where communication takes place and culture is generated. The intellect, much like the solve referring to the god Mictlan. I had to write this down phonetically, you guys. I knew these names were going to come up. So the god of the underworld, as you were talking about, it's Tekutli. Tekutli. I had to like look up pronunciations and spell them phonetically, or else that was never going to happen. Tekluti can, with his cutting action, analyze, fragment, and then recompose in forms of final synthesis. It directs and controls, but for this very reason, it can become an obstacle for expansion and dynamism. Oh my gosh. Dynamism. Okay. So, this card, it's an intellect card, but it's about structured intellect. So there's very much, especially when you break down into the Aztec culture, there very much is a duality in the underworld deities. Like there's a male and a female deity, they're a pair, they're a couple. I think a lot of the Mesoamerican deities had a counterpart. There was a male and female counterpart. And this one specifically is talking about that masculine form of intellect and knowledge and structure, and how knowledge and intellect informs culture and structures and societies and things like that. So it's kind of what we're talking about here. Just like, I would say, even higher learning knowledge, if we want to put on some equivalents that everyone can kind of understand, like a Mercury, Hermes kind of logic, third house kind of logic. Yeah, so that's what she wants to talk to you about today. Pile one. Okay. Sometimes, like I said, it can, for me, indicate some overthinking, but that's kind of a problem that I do personally have. But I mean, because that's coming up though, I do feel like that there could be some of that going on. It's also one of those situations where we need to make sure that we're not so boxed in to the point where we're not acknowledging other people's views and other people's opinions. I guess not being quite so fanatical in our views. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting here. Okay. What else can you tell us? What other messages do you have for us today? We have the Nine of Pentacles. We have Santa Muerte, which in this deck is the Death card. Okay, and we have the High Priestess. Okay, so this is actually pertaining to almost exactly what I started talking about in the intro. And if I didn't say this in the intro, we're going to say it now. If you are interested in working with her, we have the Three of Cups at the bottom of the deck. If you are interested in working with her, she is letting you know that, yes, there's an awful lot of information out there, and to the point where it can be like super overwhelming, but the Nine of Pentacles is always talking about independence. This is Santa Muerte, and the High Priestess is kind of that inner knowing. And what she's trying to say here is that there's a ton of information out there about her, but to actually talk to her, get in touch with her. If you are interested in working with her, start up a relationship with her. Have a conversation with her. Start researching her. But also do it in a way that is meaningful to you, because that's something else too that I've noticed about other devotees, just the information that I've come across. There's not really a whole lot of rules there. I mean, there are some, you know, the devotion and the ritual and the having the relationship with her every day and keeping up that relationship with her, that is definitely important. That is an important aspect of having a relationship with her. However, you know, just like any relationship, they have different levels with different people. For me personally, like there's a lot of different information about like what you would put on an altar to her and things like that. Like on my altar, there's some things that from some people's perspectives on what like should be on the altar are missing. Like I don't have apples on my altar, but I don't really eat apples. So like not a whole lot. Like I wouldn't be like, oh my God, I love apples, you know? So I feel like when I'm offering something to her on my altar, her altar, it's something that would actually be considered like a quote unquote sacrifice to me. For instance, like if I'm not eating apples, putting an apple on her altar is not really a sacrifice for me. It's not me giving something away to her. It's, I don't really care that much about apples, you know what I'm saying? But I do have things on her altar that I do actually care about, and I do it every day. Like we have coffee every morning. Every morning I make coffee for her. When I'm making it for me, it goes on her altar, and we do that every morning. We talk every day. We, you know, I put candy on there. There's tequila, there's cinnamon, there's weed products. She actually holds all of that stuff for me, you know, like those are the kinds of things that I have on my altar because those things are what's important to me, and they're also things that correspond with her as well. So that's one thing that she's saying. She really does have personal relationships with her devotees. She does think of them as her children. I was watching another podcast. It was Sticks and Bones podcast, and they had another Santa Muerte devotee, Pocahontas, I think is her name. She's on Instagram. But yeah, I started following both of them. So, but something that she talked about was that a lot of devotees have mother wounds and religious wounds. And, you know, like I said, there is a big aspect of her that is rejected. Like she was worshipped in secret for most of centuries before. Like pretty much it's been within the last, I think even the 2000s when she started to be like really openly worshipped. But before that, it's very much a secret. And depending on, you know, if you are in an upper class or a higher class or, you know, a practicing Catholic, you do worship her in secret because that's just not something that people want to talk about. So that's why there's so much misinformation. She's a folk saint, so there's not really anything that's like particular rules or anything. So what she's really saying is to get to know her, and she's gonna let you know. She's very direct. She's very direct, and she will let you know what she wants you to have on her altar if you worship her. But yeah, definitely just do your research and look into as much as you can. It, like I said, it is overwhelming. If you do speak Spanish, it's even better because I think there's more accurate information out there. But yeah, it's really just her asking you to do your own, to go with your own heart, to listen to your own intuition, to listen to anything that she's telling you, and to not get too wrapped up in a lot of what popular culture says about her, because it's pretty inaccurate for most of it. So yeah. But yeah, pile 2, that's kind of all we have. Like I said, she's very direct. She's pretty short and sweet. Anytime I do have messages with her, she's not someone that holds back. She's not, she tells you how it is. So that's something else to know. there might be some times when you're like, really, is that it? That's all? That's it? She's, nope, that's it. That's it. That's all she wants to say. So, yeah, definitely do your research. Like I said, I have provided several links in the descriptions to check out if you are interested. And then I'm always open to helping anyone find more information on those things as well, because I like that stuff and I'm a nerd. Okay, Padawan, I am going to leave that there, and I hope you enjoyed your reading. Please like, subscribe if you haven't already, and yeah, I hope to see you in another reading. Bye. Hey, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading. I'm just writing down terms real quick. Okay. You chose the Santa Muerte magnet. And we are going to see what messages she has for you today. I have 2 decks that we're using, just in case you didn't watch the intro. I'm using the Santa Muerte Oracle, which we're going to get kind of the topic of information through that one. And then I'll be using the Santa Muerte Tarot for further information. But I do just want to give it a quick shuffle here. Actually, like I was telling Padawan, she's pretty direct in her messages, so I don't think these are going to be super long messages. She doesn't tend to beat around the bush with things. She's pretty straightforward. Whether you want to hear it straightforwardly is different, but she's very to the point. So let's see what she would like to talk about today. This is card number 27. And this card, if I'm remembering correctly, I'm going to read it out of the book just so we can get, but I do get this from time to time, so usually when I'm get the cards a lot, I do remember what they mean, but this is talking about basically the fruits of your labor. And whether or not you are ready to partake in the fruits of your labor, or whether or not you need to go back to the drawing board. So let me read out of the book here really quick. Harvest. After an intense and energetic phase of work, it is time to harvest what you have produced. If your work was in harmony with the higher forces represented by the cards of the higher levels, such as love, fraternity, flow, or if it is in direct contact with your will, the results will be intense and speedy. If, however, your action was obscured or corrupted in some way, you will have to have the courage to grasp the sickle and cut away that which is superfluous to start again, without fear of failure and learning from your mistakes. Okay. Okay. So, what she would like to talk to you about is learning from your mistakes and not being afraid of them. Also, there is a part in that little passage where it's talking about, doing things from your will, from a state of love, from a state of community, and, and flow, allowing things to go the way that they need to go. So if you can align all of those things, if all of those things are in line, your will, is it best for the whole situation involved? Are you doing this from the heart? Is this out of love and for everyone's good? Then your results are going to be good. They're going to come quickly. She's going to have your back. She's going to help you. If not, if that's not where those things are coming from, she's going to hold you back a little bit and help you figure out what we need to learn and how we can go about things better and where some of those blocks are and why things aren't moving forward. So let me do a quick shuffle of these here. But basically, I mean, the underlying message is to, you know, if things aren't working out, if things haven't worked out, either maybe they're not for you, maybe they're not for you, or, you know, let's figure out what we need to fix, like what we need to shift and change. And, you know, back to her being a motherly figure, which is very much what I associate with this image and even that image too. Just that very nurturing motherly figure. She's going to help you. She's going to help you figure these things out, you know. She definitely takes care of her children. And we have the Empress. I love this card. I have this as a tattoo in honor of Santa Muerte. Love it. Oh, that's another thing that I do for her. I tattoos. That's pretty common for devotees. We have the King of Swords. And we have the Two of Pentacles. Okay. And then we have the World at the bottom of the deck. Okay. So this is a message again about balance and about lessons. Specifically, I believe this is talking about lessons in receiving, lessons in stepping back and sitting in your feminine energy and not being so much in the masculine energy all the time, and knowing that you do need to balance, you know. I do feel like maybe some have a block to letting yourself just enjoy the things that are coming to you. She's funny. You're funny. That's a message that I get a lot of, and it's true. I have a hard time receiving. But yeah, so that's definitely coming through here. Allowing yourself to receive. I do think that you've gone through a lot of hard work of trying to cut down all of those blocks that are showing up for you that are keeping you from receiving. I know that a lot of times those are trauma blocks. It has nothing, I'm going to say nothing. It has a lot to do with that. It has a lot to do with trauma and feeling like we don't deserve to receive things. But what she's saying here is that you do. You've done a lot of really hard work of dealing with those things and allowing yourself to receive, to sit back in your feminine energy and allow the things to come to you that need to come to you. The King of Swords too always is an advocating for yourself vibe. You know, if you need to rest, say you need to rest. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, that you should have, you know, the things that you're doing going forward, going back to what this card talks about, making sure that your will is in line with love and community and flow. you know, as long as you're doing that, those people in your life should be there to show up for you and to, you know, listen when you're advocating for yourself that you need some rest. So, you know, if those people aren't there, then you can always ask her to help and she will bring people in. But yeah, just mainly you need to balance that out. You need to balance the masculine side of going out and getting all of the time, because, you know, that's something, especially if you're not comfortable with receiving, odds are you're out going to get all of the time. Like you're in that go-getter masculine energy, trying to conquer the world. But sometimes, yeah, you just got to sit back and let it come to you. And knowing when to do that and when to not do that has probably been a big lesson that you've gone through. But yeah, she's there to, I feel like there's two different piles or two different energies in this group. Either it's something that you need to start cultivating, either you do need to sit back and ask for help and advocate for yourself and say, hey, I need some rest. Either that is one of the things, the big tests that you're working on in this incarnation, or you have gone through that already and you are in that balance. But wherever you are on that scale, she wants to help with that. And one of the amazing things about her is that she doesn't judge. She doesn't judge the things that you ask for. She doesn't judge the things that you want to have in life. She doesn't judge your lifestyle. She doesn't judge any of that. If you make a relationship with her, you have a relationship with her. She doesn't really care how much money you have or, you know, your background, any of it. She doesn't care. She is there if you call her. And a lot of the reason that a lot of devotees do work with her is because they do find support from her where they couldn't somewhere else. You know, a lot of times people go to her with questions of justice and fairness, which is also definitely represented here with the King of Swords and the Two of Pentacles, and even the World. But she does. She will come through when others won't. And I've personally experienced that, so I can definitely tell you that it is true. She comes through when others don't. So if you are still having those problems, you are still trying to get there and trying to go through those things, to just ask for help. And if you don't have physical help, she will help. Ask her for help. She's totally there and she wants to help. At the end of the day, she's a mother, you know, she's a mother, she's a grandmother, she's a nurturer, she wants to care. One of her, you know, Mesoamerican manifestations as a goddess of the underworld, she's the keeper of the bones. And she is a very maternal figure, and she wants to be there and help you get through this situation if you haven't yet. And if you have gotten through it, she's so proud of you and she wants to let you know that the good things are coming, the harvest is coming. And yeah, she's very proud of you. So, and that's always a good feeling. I feel a little choked up myself because I'm feeling it. Yeah. So that's all I have for you, Pile 2. Like I said, she's pretty direct. She doesn't go on for long when she's talking about things. Yeah, she just kind of says it how it is. Like I said, if it's all about how you want to hear it or not. So, like all moms, you know, mothers are like that. They're going to tell you whether or not you want to hear it is a totally different story. So yeah. But yeah, that's all I have for you, Pile 2. Thanks for checking this reading out. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it resonated with you. Like, subscribe if you haven't already, comment. I would love to hear your experiences, if this resonates for you, all of that. So, and I hope to see you in another reading. Thanks, Pile 2. Bye. pile 3. Welcome to your reading. I'm just going to write down some timestamps real quick here. You chose the Monarch Butterfly Sugar Skull. Okay. So the first thing that I am being drawn to with the sugar skull is the connection between the monarch butterfly. This time of year, the monarchs, what's the word? They migrate to Mexico. They spend a lot of time in the marigold fields there. They're attracted to those. I think they're a big food source for them as well. But yeah, it's definitely migration time there. So monarchs have become associated with Dia de los Muertos because it all happens around the same time of year. And a lot of people believe that those are the souls of the ancestors that are coming back to celebrate with them. So that's become a big part of the culture and one of those symbols that has become part of the Dia de los Muertos symbols. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to get a card from my Santa Muerte Oracle, and that's going to kind of give us information on what she wants to talk to you about today, pile 3. So I just want to give them a quick shuffle. And we'll see what we have. Oh, it popped right out. Really? We're not taking it though because you may have messages in pile 2. I'm just going to say that. That's the card that came out for pile 2. So if you were drawn to pile 2 by chance, go check that out because she says that there's messages in there for you. Okay. You have card number 7. And this is the card of the feminine. And intuition as well. Okay, I'm just going to read out of the book here. While the masculine card presents us with the primordial active and creative impulse that still has no form or direction, this card is complementary to it, a receptive and feminine basis, which, like a womb or a cocoon, envelops the primitive energy, disciplines it, and stabilizes it by giving it a shape. This shape will consent its growth and evolution, but will inevitably give it morality. Okay. So there's very much a big influence in especially the pre-colonial Mesoamerican culture with duality in the masculine and feminine. Most of the deities have a counterpart. I don't want to say all because I haven't researched all of the deities, but I know a lot of them have counterparts. Specifically, the god and goddess of the underworld, which in Aztec is called Mictlan, and then the goddess or the god is Mictlan Tecutli. I had to spell it out phonetically because I have problems with pronunciation. Okay, but yes, the god of the underworld is Mictlan Tecutli, and then the goddess of the underworld, who many scholars believe was an early manifestation of Santa Muerte, is Mictecacithuatl. Sorry, you guys. Even spelling it out phonetically, I still have problems pronouncing it. Mictecacithuatl. Yes. Anyway, there is actually that goddess portrayed in this deck, and you know, I'm just gonna take these guys out because I think they're going to be relevant. Okay. Yes, so the god and the goddess of the underworld. And basically how they work together is the god breaks down the things and then she puts them back together and bursts them out into the world again. Another thing that she does is she eats the stars so there can be light. So, you know, they're definitely counterparts. He breaks things down, she puts them back together type of energy. So there very much is a very duality, like I said, in that culture. So she wants to talk to you about the feminine part of that today. So let's see what else she has to say about this. And it does kind of correlate to pile 2. Like I said, if you were looking at that, well, she wants you to go back and watch that pile 2. So she says it's up to you though, but she recommends, because it also talks about being in that receptive feminine energy. Okay, we have the Knight of Swords. She definitely would like for you to slow down. And we have the Wheel of Fortune. And we have the Three of Cups. And then at the bottom of the deck, we have Judgment. This is one of my very favorite Judgment cards out of any tarot deck that I have. I love this so much. Okay. Pile 3. She would like for you to slow down and take some time to spend with loved ones, with people that you care about, to just relax and have fun with people. You deserve that. You deserve to have connection. You deserve to not be go, go, go all the time. Also, when the Wheel of Fortune came out, it was reversed when it first came out. She's also letting you know that if you don't slow down, you are going to hit burnout at some point. And it's probably going to be sooner rather than later. So yeah, you need to slow down, relax, have fun with the people that you care about. Don't take everything so seriously. Just relax and have fun. Like, today is one of those days where they celebrate their loved ones and the people that have gone before, and just to celebrate happy memories and happy times with family and friends, and you know, to just honor those memories and those cultures and those relationships, and to really enjoy them. It's more, one of the things that I've learned by researching the Dia de los Muertos, you know, celebrations, the more rural areas, the more rural villages, they tend to look at it more in the traditional sense, where it's, you know, very much about family and about connecting back to your family. You know, not so much like big parades and parties and things like that, which, I mean, that does happen. It is a, you know, they all kind of get together, especially in the cemeteries, and enjoy each other and party and have fun. So that is a big part of this holiday, and that's what she's asking, that's what she's talking about. Also, just this time of year, even if, you know, you aren't in the Mexican culture, if you aren't doing that, this is a time of year when we start to really spend time with our loved ones and slow down and celebrate that. And, there is a time for that. We do need that. So she's just telling you that you need to do that. You need to slow down, spend time with the people that you care about. Let them be in your lives and let them celebrate with you and let them show up for you and let them be there for you. Because, honestly, none of us ever really know how much time anyone has in our lives. And, that's not meant to be like, that's not meant to say that you should put up with things that, especially from people or family or loved ones, when, just because you don't know how much time you have left or they're so-and-so or whatever. That's not what she or I are saying. But she's saying that you don't know, you really don't know what's going to happen. No one has a future figured out ever. So, spend time with the people that you love now, because that's how we make these memories. And then, if we should be parted by circumstances or miles or even death, that we have those memories and we have those enjoyable times that we've spent with them, and we can, cultivate that, and then we can remember them. Because, if we're not making those memories now, we can't be honoring them later on days like today, Dia de los Muertos, or any holidays, any of the holiday seasons where family and friends and community and getting together is such a big, important thing. So she just wants to remind you to not forget about that, not forget about family, and whether that's your, biological family, your chosen family, or whatever that is, whoever you call family, whoever is your community and your family, to make sure you take time to spend with them, because they're important. They're what makes life worth living. And we need to slow down, and we need to nurture and, facilitate those relationships, because that's what we have to celebrate later. But yeah, so that's all I have for you today, pile 3. Like I've told all of the other piles, she's very direct. She doesn't get super too wordy. She just kind of says, she's very direct. So yeah, her messages aren't typically super long, but yeah. So that's what I have for you, pile 3. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and I hope you subscribe if you haven't already. Comment below if you would like. I would love to hear your stories, and if any of this resonated for you. If you want to know more about her as well, check out the links in the description. But yeah, this is all I have for you. Thanks for sharing this time with me. Thanks for sharing these messages with me, and thank you, Santa Muerte, for allowing me to share these messages for you. And I will see you all in another